CCR, as I remember, started off as a broader community organizing back in 1984 when we were trying to identify all of the so-called, as we understood them, human service programs in the Oneida tribe here. And we had applied for a community service block grant from the state, and under that we had 4 categories, and one of them was to fund this human service support group that we had just recently started, where we identified programs in the community that we thought fit under human service title or human service activity. Included the counseling program, the domestic violence program, the AODA program, which were all together at the time. And we identified the homeschool coordinators and the local churches and the school. And we started off by inviting them to a weekly meeting where we'd talk about community issues and then start to prioritize those community issues. And once we got the block grant funded, then we had a monthly event based upon the priority. And from that prioritizing, when we got the grant, we planned to have a monthly gathering with a meal. And it because of the success of it, I feel the networking, we were able to draw in over 200 community members to the first event. And then after that event, then we had surveys, or not surveys, but evaluations filled out. And then at the next meeting, we critiqued the evaluations and give us some direction for our next event. And we would continue to meet every week. And one of the things that came from the survey, the evaluations, was to get a broader idea of what the community needed. And so we developed a 2-page survey and went door to door. We divvied it up and we went door to door in all the sites. Put in questions around alcohol and drug abuse, domestic violence, and issues, social problems. Eventually, in 1986, we were able to, through the business committee and general manager, start Oneida Social Services in 1986. But that was part of the idea for the broader networking that came about in 1985 after attending a conference in Superior, Wisconsin, and meeting a woman from the Duluth Intervention Project at the time, and she was talking about mandatory arrest and their coordinated community response. And at the time, we had just started a volunteer men's program for the city of Green Bay. And so brought the idea back to the executive director, and she thought it was a good idea. So through her organization, the Family Violence Center, she was able to contact all the area chiefs of police and the court, Brown County Court, and the district attorney's office, and probation, and parole. And set up a meeting with them to talk about this coordinated community response ideal and the idea of mandatory arrest. Because at the time, the police had a policy was pro arrest. And so when we introduced the ideal, the chiefs of police agreed to write a police policy when they had probable cause to make an arrest, that they would charge three offenses that were already on the book. Of course, battery, disorderly conduct, and criminal damage to property. And so one of the things that was real interesting at the time, talking with Ellen Pence from the Duluth Intervention Project, was that she had, and I thought she might have just been sarcastic, she said, watch, the first arrests you can get are of women. And I didn't believe it, but sure enough, when we started the mandatory arrest policy for the police, the first two people that were arrested under that policy were women. And I think that was a way of the police saying that, they really didn't like the idea, and some of them complained we were taking away their discretion. But from that came the idea of the coordinated community response, and again, getting the same agencies together and providing a monthly meeting format for them to get together and talk about what was going on with the arrests and the referrals. I decided to start a Oneida men's group, which was more geared for Oneida men and men that were married to Oneida women, and then got a request to start a group on the Menominee Reservation, and so we did that. We didn't have a coordinated community response per se in Oneida, but we were a part of the Green Bay coordinated community response. And then I was asked by Outagamie County, which is the other county that Oneida is in, to help them start their coordinated community response for Outagamie County. And so I went and helped them with that. And theirs was, had a little different tweaks to it. Like they preferred deferred prosecution, but yet they still went ahead with their coordinated community response. The Outagamie County coordinated community response and the recognition, of our program, not only in Outagamie County but in Brown County, the Native men that were, or even non-Native men that were involved with Native women, were given the opportunity to be referred to the Oneida group. Part of our intent of creating the Human Service Support Group was to get an idea of what programs are doing. And one of the things that kept coming up in the Human Service Support Group was the idea that the counties weren't providing adequate service to the tribal membership. And so we had a meeting with invited Outagamie County Social Services and Brown County Social Services, and started off the meeting by introductions and then having them give a presentation of what their services did. And what hidden or what unknown came out of that was that when it came time for us to talk about our human services, our human service programs didn't know what was going on with each other. And so I think that was probably one of the catalysts for us to get more into sharing our responsibilities with our programs and what we do and how we get better connect with each other in our own community as tribal service providers.